At the start of the story, we meet Cameron Poe, a former U.S. Army Ranger and the hero of our story. After getting leave from the Army, he goes to the bar where his wife Trisha works. The moment she sees Cameron, she is overjoyed, and he is just as happy to see her. The two hug each other tightly because they are finally together after a long time. Trisha then shares some wonderful news. She tells Cameron that she is pregnant and that they are going to become parents. Hearing this makes them both incredibly happy, and they start dancing together. However, a group of local thugs keep staring at them. One of them even starts harassing Trisha and insults Cameron. Cameron becomes furious and is ready to fight, but Trisha calms him down and they continue enjoying their time together. The trouble is far from over though. As soon as they leave the bar, the thugs surround them. Once again, they begin harassing Trisha. This time, they completely cross the line. The men mock Cameron for wearing his army uniform, and he can no longer control his anger. He fights back and starts taking them down one by one. He easily overpowers them and beats them badly. During the fight, one of the thugs pulls out a knife and tries to stab Cameron. Cameron blocks the attack in self-defense, grabs the man's arm, and breaks it. He punches him several times, seriously injuring him. But in the struggle, the knife ends up stabbing the thug, killing him. After the incident, Cameron is arrested and taken to court. Even though he acted in self-defense, the court finds him guilty of involuntary manslaughter because of his military training. He is sentenced to 8 years in prison. Cameron is devastated because he never intended to kill anyone, but he has no choice except to accept the punishment. The next day, he is sent to prison. Sometime later, he receives a letter from Trisha telling him that she has given birth to their baby daughter. Cameron is overjoyed to hear the news and dreams of meeting his little girl, but he is helpless behind bars. Trisha keeps sending him pictures of their daughter so he won't feel lonely. She also keeps reminding him to stay calm and avoid getting into trouble because she wants him to come home safely. Cameron follows her advice. He stays out of trouble, treats everyone with respect, spends his time reading books, and exercises every day to keep himself fit. He even becomes friends with his cellmate, who is a kind man but suffers from diabetes. In this way, 8 long years pass. Finally, Cameron's release date is only a few days away. But before he can go home, he is ordered to board a prison transport plane that will transfer several dangerous inmates to another maximum security prison. Meanwhile, U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin comes up with a plan. He sends an undercover DEA agent, Willie Sims, onto the same flight disguised as a prisoner. His job is to blend in with the inmates, gather information, and secretly keep an eye on them. Soon, all the prisoners are loaded onto the aircraft. Most of them are some of the most dangerous criminals in the country. Among them, the most feared is Cyrus the Virus Grissom. His trusted partner Diamond Dog is also on board, along with the notorious serial killer Garland Green. Besides them, there are many other violent criminals with horrifying records. Before takeoff, the undercover agent is fully prepared for the mission, given a hidden gun, and placed on the plane. As soon as the aircraft is in the air, the prisoners begin putting their escape plan into action. Cyrus secretly takes out a small metal pin that he had hidden and uses it to unlock his handcuffs. At the same time, another prisoner spits out a tiny container he had hidden in his mouth. Inside it are flammable liquid and a match. He lights it and burns the prisoner sitting beside him. When one of the guards rushes over to help, the prisoner quickly grabs him. Within moments, the inmates overpower the guards and take complete control of the aircraft. The prison transport plane has now been hijacked. One of the violent prisoners notices the female guard and immediately begins assaulting her. Cameron cannot stand by and watch. Furious, he rushes over, grabs the prisoner, and throws him away, stopping the attack. Cyrus then reminds everyone that the plane is scheduled to stop at a prison where 6 inmates are supposed to be transferred. He orders everyone to act normally so the authorities on the ground won't suspect that the plane has been hijacked. Just then, the undercover agent suddenly grabs one of Cyrus's men and points a gun at his head. Cameron desperately tries to calm him down. He tells him not to do anything reckless and begs him to lower the gun, but the agent refuses to listen. Without hesitating, Cyrus shoots him dead. Afterward, Cyrus realizes that 3 of the 6 prisoners who were supposed to be transferred are now dead, so he orders 3 of his own men to take their places and pretend to be those prisoners. Cameron is also one of the 6 inmates scheduled to get off the plane, but he knows that if he leaves, these dangerous criminals will be free to carry out whatever they have planned. So he lies to Cyrus, claiming that he still has 15 years left on his sentence and has no reason to get off the plane. Cyrus agrees with Cameron and tells him to remove the dead guard's uniform and wear it so no one will suspect anything when they land. Cameron does exactly that. Dressed as a prison guard, he escorts the 6 prisoners off the plane. While doing this, he secretly finds a tape recorder in the guard's uniform and slips it into one of the prisoner's pockets. His hope is that once the prisoner reaches the prison, the authorities will find the recorder and learn that the transport plane has been hijacked. Soon, the plane lands at a prison to transfer the 6 inmates. None of the officers waiting there have any idea that the aircraft has already been taken over by dangerous criminals. At the same time, one of the clever prisoners removes the plane's tracking beacon and secretly attaches it to another aircraft. This way, if the authorities discover the hijacking, they will end up following the wrong plane instead of theirs. Before taking off again, several more dangerous inmates are brought onto the aircraft from that prison. Among them is an extremely notorious criminal whose reputation is so terrifying that even Cyrus seems cautious around him. Meanwhile, the prison bus carrying the 6 transferred inmates leaves the prison. As it drives away, the tape recorder Cameron planted falls out of one prisoner's pocket. The officers recover it, play the recording, and immediately realize that the transport plane has been hijacked. Some officials suggest shooting the plane down before the criminals can escape. However, U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin strongly opposes the idea. He reminds everyone that there are still innocent people on board, and destroying the plane would kill them as well. Back on the aircraft, Cyrus and his men release the newly boarded, dangerous prisoner from his restraints. Cameron quietly approaches Cyrus and asks where they are heading and what the next step of the plan is. Cyrus reveals that they are going to leave the United States, escape to another country, and live the rest of their lives as free men. After hearing this, Cameron returns to his seat. He notices that his diabetic cellmate is getting weaker by the minute. Without his insulin, he could die at any time. A little later, one of Cyrus's men, who is flying the plane, notices a problem with the landing gear. He informs Cyrus that something seems to be stuck in it and asks someone to inspect it. Cyrus orders one of his men to go, but he refuses to check it alone. Cameron is sent along with him. When they reach the landing gear, they discover that a dead body is trapped inside it. Cyrus's partner orders Cameron to throw the body out immediately. Cameron agrees, but before pushing it out, he secretly writes a message on the dead man's clothing, hoping the authorities will understand where the plane is heading. The body falls from the sky and crashes onto a moving car below, completely destroying it. Meanwhile, the prisoner named Pinball begins to suspect Cameron, but Cameron cleverly changes the subject and distracts him. He cannot let anyone discover that he is actually a former Army Ranger, because that would put both his own life and his friend's life in serious danger. The authorities still have no idea where the hijacked plane really is. Around the same time, U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin learns that Cameron Poe is one of the prisoners on board. He also discovers that Cameron is a former Army Ranger whose sentence is almost over, and that his wife and young daughter are waiting for him to come home. Larkin visits Trisha, and she tells him that Cameron never killed anyone intentionally. He acted only in self-defense and is a kind and honorable man. Just then, another officer informs Larkin that a dead body has fallen out of the sky into the middle of the city. After examining it and noticing the message Cameron left behind, Larkin realizes that Cameron is secretly trying to help the authorities. He finally figures out the plane's real route and immediately informs the other officers. Unfortunately, nobody believes him because they are still tracking the aircraft through the tracking beacon, not knowing that the criminals switched it onto another plane. As a result, all of their resources are following the wrong aircraft. Realizing that nobody is listening to him, Larkin decides to take matters into his own hands. He gets into a car and heads out by himself. Meanwhile, Pinball looks through the files of all the prisoners on board. When he reaches Cameron's file, he discovers that Cameron is actually a former Army Ranger who lied about his identity and his remaining prison sentence. Just as Pinball is about to expose him, Cameron arrives. He notices that Pinball is holding the stuffed bunny he bought as a birthday gift for his daughter. Cameron realizes that if Pinball tells Cyrus the truth, everything will be over. He immediately tries to stop him. During the struggle, Cameron's hand is badly cut, and a violent fight breaks out between them. In the end, Cameron manages to drive a metal rod straight through Pinball's chest, killing him before he can reveal the secret. Not long after, the plane lands in a deserted airfield where another aircraft is waiting for them. However, while landing, their transport plane is badly damaged and can no longer continue flying. Cyrus's partner wants to execute all the captured guards before leaving, but Cameron objects. He tells them that killing the guards would be a mistake because they could still be useful later. Right now, their only priority should be repairing the aircraft and getting back into the air. Cyrus agrees with Cameron's suggestion. All the prisoners begin working together to repair the plane. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Cameron quietly slips away to search the nearby area, hoping to find a patrol vehicle or some other way to contact the police. As Cameron searches for a way to contact the police, 3 armed prisoners suddenly appear in front of him. They are ready to shoot him, but Cameron attacks first. A brutal fight breaks out, and he manages to take them down one by one. Just then, U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin arrives and saves Cameron. Startled, Cameron immediately points his gun at him because he no longer trusts anyone. But when Larkin tells him that he has already met Trisha and knows about his daughter, Cameron lowers his weapon. He tells the marshal that he understands why he came, but asks him to stay out of it. There are innocent people on the plane along with dangerous criminals, and he feels it is his responsibility to save them all. After saying that, Cameron heads back to the aircraft. At the same time, the authorities finally discover that the plane they have been chasing all this time is the wrong one. The prisoners had tricked them by switching the tracking device. Larkin immediately contacts the officers and tells them that he has found the real location of the hijacked plane, ordering everyone to head there at once. Meanwhile, Cyrus's partner finishes repairing another aircraft so they can escape. But just as the plane starts moving, law enforcement launches an attack. During the chaos, the aircraft loses control, crashes into a fuel station, and breaks apart. Fuel spills everywhere. Enraged by what has happened, Cyrus throws a lit cigarette onto the leaking fuel. The entire area erupts into flames, causing a massive explosion that destroys the gas station and kills one of the prisoners. Soon, another prisoner notices a large number of police officers and military vehicles closing in on their location. Realizing they are surrounded, Cyrus orders everyone to fight back. His men begin firing heavily at the approaching officers, while the remaining prisoners board the repaired aircraft and manage to take off. As the plane escapes, Cyrus becomes convinced that someone on board has been secretly informing the authorities about their location. He gathers everyone together and threatens to kill the female prison guard unless the traitor reveals himself. To save both the guard and Cameron's diabetic friend bravely lies and claims that he is the informant. Without a second thought, Cyrus shoots him. The bullet seriously injures him, and he collapses into Cameron's arms. Holding his friend, Cameron promises that he will save him. Seeing his innocent friend shot fills Cameron with rage. He immediately turns on Cyrus's men and begins taking them down one after another. At the same time, 2 military helicopters catch up to the escaping plane. One of them is carrying U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin. Cameron reaches the cockpit and contacts Larkin over the radio. He tells him that he is slowly taking control of the aircraft and asks the helicopters not to attack. Larkin immediately relays the message to the military, but the attack continues. The helicopters keep firing at the aircraft. Finally, Larkin is forced to reveal that there is a man on board risking his life to help them. Only then do the officers stop firing. Unfortunately, the damage has already become too severe. The plane is no longer controllable and is about to crash. With no other choice, Cameron is forced to bring the aircraft down in the middle of the city. Meanwhile, Cyrus escapes in a fire truck. Cameron and Larkin spot him and immediately chase after him on police motorcycles. Cameron speeds up and rams his motorcycle into the moving fire truck. One of Cyrus's remaining men attacks him during the chase, but Cameron fights him off. Moments later, the truck catches fire. Cameron jumps clear just in time before it explodes in a massive blast. The explosion kills Cyrus and the last of his remaining partners. With the danger finally over, Cameron takes a deep breath. He then looks up and sees Trisha standing there with their daughter. Overcome with emotion, he walks toward them. After waiting for so many years, he is finally meeting his little girl for the very first time. Holding his family close, he silently thanks God that he made it home. Afterward, the police arrest all of the surviving prisoners. Cameron is officially cleared and released with honor because his courage and bravery played the biggest role in stopping the hijacking and saving countless innocent lives. In the final scene, we see Garland Green, the notorious serial killer, casually gambling in a casino after having escaped during the chaos. His survival reminds us that no matter how much good wins in the end, evil always finds a way to remain. With that, the movie comes to an end.